I've been meaning to thank you for helping me with the Crimson Fleet before. I could have handled it myself, of course, but it's good working with a team. You know, that Crimson Fleet pirate who held me captive for a bit a while ago. I just appreciated how you rescued me, that's all. It's good to be part of a team, isn't it? To be part of something so much bigger than any one of us. So many things can go wrong out there. Working with people you can trust is important. That's why I've been in Constellation so long. It's good to have people who will help out when you're in a jam. Just wait till we get matching shirts and start having official cookie days. They're one of humanity's greatest achievements. Modern medicine, space travel, and cookies. Constellation is quite pro-cookie. Because, you see, we value human accomplishments. Speaking of which, I'm glad you joined Constellation. A long time. We should talk about it someday. I'd need to get some tea going for that chat, though. Just figured I'd mention it, since we haven't had much time to chat before. You know, being a member of Constellation has given me a lot of opportunities, and a fair bit of stress, I'll admit. It's hard to imagine just who I'd be had I never joined up. I would have never done so many things, met so many people. It's mind-boggling how different I would be. And I never would have met Irvin. Or lost him, I suppose. Irvin Madani was my husband. He was also a brilliant biologist who joined Constellation a couple of years before me. Yes, he's gone now. I remember his bright smiles when I returned from my trips. Wow, more brilliant than any star. That's kind of you to ask. People used to say that we were polar opposites. He was quiet and shy, they said. But that wasn't true. He was just that way around everyone else. The war happened. He was caught in the crossfire between the UC and the Free Star Collective. It was right after he finished a job on Gagarin. Some terrible job, I don't remember. It's not you, Captain. It's just been on my mind. I can't say why. Irvin's been gone for over 20 years. Strange how memories can pop up when you least expect it. Well, I'm enjoying my time adventuring with you, and it reminds me of Irvin in a way. We had so many adventures together, and then it suddenly stopped. Maybe part of my mind is trying to remind me of that. All right, let's see. He was a biologist, specialized in botany. He loved plants. For years, he carried one with us on trips like it was our pet. He even named it. Haven't thought about that in a while. Well, maybe I'll take you up on that offer later on, Captain. I need some time to think about things. On that note, I think I'd do well to distract myself with a little adventure for a bit.
You can get work.
I've been thinking a lot about my early days in Constellation lately. Got me pretty nostalgic, and I started digging in some old things. Just sort of reminiscing. I found some of Irvin's last messages to me and thought I'd listen to them again to hear his voice. No, I apparently read at least a few of these. I just don't remember. It was a difficult time. It was surreal, honestly. So, most of the messages were everyday things. Lots of excitedly written news about biodiversity and plant life. But one thing stood out. In one of his messages, he mentioned this job that he took at a mine shortly before he died. He said something terrible was happening there. But the message was garbled after that. True, but this was different. I recognized this pattern from the war. A portion of the message was encrypted. Well, Vasco helped me decipher it. Turns out the message was from Irvin, and he was begging me to help him. The message was short, but his voice was pained. He was so upset. No, he was frustrated and angry. He said they were going to destroy his name. He said they were going to destroy his life if he didn't leave the planet now. Then he asked me to help clear his name. Said they had a case against him. Oh, he sounded so upset. Yes. Hearing his voice in so much pain was very difficult. Oh, I wish I had noticed this message when he sent it. So in this message, Irvin said he was being framed. He said they'll do it again. He asked if Constellation could send more help. No, I just thought it was garbled. I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Not exactly sure, but he mentioned a court case. So I think there's a paper trail. His former employers had some job he took before he died. I think it was a mining company. It is, but I was thinking about it and, well, it's still wrong, right? So I figured, hey, I can do some sort of a remote investigation here, see what I can find out. There's gotta be a paper trail, right? Now, I happen to have a trustworthy contact who knows a bit about law and owes me a favor. I'd need to pay in advance in case there are any access fees or bribes. He knows how to navigate archived and redacted legal documents, so he'll look for anything to do with Irvin on Gagarin. If those documents are protected, he might have to pay to access them. Might need to grease some palms, too. That works. I'll tell them to go ahead with the investigation. You know, hearing Irvin's voice again made me want to help him, even though I know I can't. Does that make any sense? No, I know I can't. I just don't want whoever hurt him to get away with it, if that's what happened. I appreciate that. It's going to be hard to get some sleep tonight after all this. But the fact that I'm doing something about it might be enough to help. Hopefully poking around in old records doesn't catch the attention of Hephaestus. Well, anyway, I'll let you know if my contact finds anything. Hey, so I'm really enjoying our time together. Thought you should know. It's been a long time since I worked with someone so closely. I didn't realize how much I missed it. And you haven't stopped me from looking into this stuff with Irvin either. So, thank you. Well, there's a school of thought that you shouldn't go chasing ghosts. And they're probably right. Ghosts are spooky. But maybe this isn't that kind of chase. And Irvin's case is far from dead. See, that's what makes you a good captain in my book. You're supportive. On that note, I do have some news about Irvin's case. So, I wanted to let you know that I heard back from my contact, and I think you'll want to hear this. They sent me a copy of some public records. It's interesting. There was a claim filed against Irvin, accusing him of damaging their investments. Looks like Irvin didn't even enter a plea. Some of Irvin's paychecks were seized, as well as any assets that weren't under joint ownership. The Hephaestus Mining Corporation, and they also won the case. Well, if it was Irvin, I do want to understand that, because I just can't believe it. Anyway, this mining corporation, Hephaestus, sued Irvin, claiming he irreparably damaged their mine. They said he killed the apex predators in the area around the mine, which led to herd creatures overeating the grasses. That caused the soils to release too many gases too fast, which cost Hephaestus a ton of money. They claim the creature he killed was a critical hive species that caused a cascade effect when they were killed off. Irvin killed the equivalent of a queen bee, and the whole hive collapsed, basically. It looks like they considered him a no-show and ruled against him. So anyway, according to the court documents, there was a witness for the defense, who was a no-show too. Then Hephaestus won by default. They tried to take his apartment, but because it's in my name too, they couldn't. Yes, they plan to stay in the same system for a while. They withdrew their testimony the morning of the trial. Said they had a sincere change of heart. I didn't know he bought it. Must have been a better deal than renting for the time he was there. That doesn't mean we can't do anything about it. And if nothing else, I just want to know more about what happened to Irvin. So here's what I was thinking. I can persuade my contact to keep digging a little bit more. I don't want to press our luck, so I'll just ask them to follow up on one thing. Should I tell them to investigate the company more, or look into the witness instead? I just want to know why they picked Irvin. Why did they set him up? I wonder what his real reason was for retracting his testimony. Did he report anything to security? For that much money? They'll do it. You know, this investigation is time-consuming, but it's also pretty cathartic. And who knows? Maybe if we solve this case, it'll mean a better future for Gagarin. But that's thinking too far ahead. Anyway, Captain, thanks for checking in with me. You know, I needed this. Exploring the galaxy with you by day, investigating the mysterious legal woes of my long-dead spouse by night. Hey, I'm not complaining. Honestly, these have been some of the best days of my life in a long time. I mean that.
Pirates are involved. Should we go after them?
It depends.
Vasco never appreciated my humor that much. I was just remembering how I'd pour my heart out to Vasco. So many times. I told him all about Irvin. He showed me a chart of how sad I should expect to feel. Sure, folks from the lodge, folks from my past. I've got friends when and where I need them. But traveling with you has been different. We're more of a team. It feels stronger. Why not? Trust me, I've talked to way less sentient humans before. Vasco's just fine for most conversations. He was really hoping the visual presentation would help. It did not. Oh, we got to point B many times just fine. Top-notch co-pilot. Would recommend him to anybody. Anyway, I'm glad you're here right now because we have things to discuss about Irvin's case. I heard back from my contact. They looked into Hephaestus Mining Corporation. Looks like they paid off the judge. And that's not all. My contact really came through for us. Turns out the witness was threatened until he withdrew his testimony. And thanks to our contact, we now have the receipts. No, my contact does for now. I trust them. We worked together a long time ago. And it depends on what I want to do with all the proof, if anything. Bank transactions. A precise amount was transferred to the judge only the day before the ruling. My contact has an audio log with the identity of the speaker verified, time-stamped, everything. I'm glad you're confident already. I'm not, though. I'm worried we don't have enough evidence to go up against a massive corporation like that. So I know a cyber runner who has accessed corporate archives before. They can dig into the classified archives before we go to a lawyer. We can pay extra for them to use less legal methods to obtain information, but that adds risk. I don't know. I guess that's a good question for a lawyer. I appreciate that, Captain. But I'll take care of any fines or bribes that come up from this. You have always been so supportive of me during this process. Let me take care of this part. Depending on what they find out, it might be time to talk to a lawyer. I'll see if I can find one. Whew. Taking on Hephaestus isn't going to be easy. And I say this as someone who's fought the Crimson Fleet. Maybe I should study up on the art of cross-examination. Might come in handy at the trial. Objection, Your Honor. I think our lawyer in Gagarin is the right choice. Ha! Hoisted by my own petard. I better get to study my legalese. Anyway, let's go adventure while we wait on the cyber runner to get back to us.
Okay, hello.
You know, traveling with you has been more than just good old-fashioned fun. It's been, well, therapeutic. I know. It didn't seem like it, right? Well, I was hiding it. Hiding it from everyone, including myself. I can see now how much it was affecting me. I know now that clearing Irvin's name would set me free from the grief. Well, I buried my pain about Irvin for so long that I needed a nudge and a different perspective. Well, just ask. Anyway, Thanks for the support, Captain. Yeah, of course. Vasco is a fantastic co-pilot. He doesn't sleep, he reacts quickly. He's a fascinating friend. That's just a fact. Which brings me back to that plan I mentioned earlier. I think I know how to move forward now. But I'm going to need your help. My contact sent a gift. Nope. They were confident about not being detected, but not like too confident. Yep, my friend from Neon has helped me out more times than I deserve. Seems real to me. So they found an insurance settlement. Irvin's employers got paid as compensation for sabotage. Now, they claimed they had to ditch the whole mine and all the equipment inside and construct a new mine with new equipment. They were reimbursed for all of it. It seems that the mining company got a huge payout after they won the case against Irvin. We have the settlement paperwork from their insurance. Tons of money. Oh, also the cyber runner had to move on to other work, but sent me a passcode to some computer system. I'm not sure what it goes to yet. We can just hold on to it until we figure it out. But anyway, we have enough to move forward. The missing piece here is proving that Irvin was framed. So I discovered that Irvin's original lawyer still practices law, and she'll look over everything we found. Irvin's case was her first case, she said. She always hated how it ended. And she's now got 2 decades of experience behind her for a rematch, too. Yes, I believe so. Every case she's worked on has been in the interest of regular, everyday people. She doesn't seem to be in this for the money. I mean, heck, she said she wouldn't even charge us for the initial consultation anyway. Oh, detective. I like the sound of that. If I'm the detective, does that make you my trustworthy and sensible partner with a heart of gold? Well, I can work with that. Detective Barrett at your service. Anyway, we should take everything to the lawyer and see what she says. Maybe she reviews it and decides we have no case, or we need more evidence. I don't know. If we don't have a case, I can probably let it go. But I have to try. Oh, yep. I've got a key card for it. But I don't know what condition it's in. It's been 20 years, but I got the ventilation and power turned on, so I think it's safe. Yes, I've already arranged for my contact to drop off the evidence at our office. Fantastic. I knew I could count on you. You're as reliable as an atomic clock. I've sent a list of everything we've found so far to the lawyer in Gagarin. You know, I actually feel optimistic about this. Lead the way, detective. Yes, Captain? Well, I hope I've got a good answer for you. Of course. We're working on this case together, after all. And I trust you. So please, continue. Oh, he would have loved to be part of this investigation, I bet. He always loved making things right. Yes, he was one of the first people I met when I moved into the lodge. His room used to be full of plants. The humidity was hard to get used to. Gagarin has more apartments for sale than buyers, so it was cheap. And the contract was for a month, so it made sense. Yeah, he did it as a favor to one of his colleagues from his university days. Plus, it paid well. And it didn't seem that complicated.
All passengers, may I have your attention, please?
He took an ancient plant from a moon that had been ejected from its planetary orbit, and he genetically modified it somehow. That's when it started smelling so good, too. I told him to let me know when he found a pizza plant. Then maybe I'd develop a green thumb. Thanks for listening. Did you have any other personal questions, or was that it? Next up, Gagarin, or somewhere else? I was just thinking that this is about what Irvin saw all those years ago when he arrived. He probably stood here thinking that he was going to make things better. He had a good heart. We need to reopen the case. See if there's anything that was overlooked the first time. We've done some legwork remotely, but we need to do some good old-fashioned investigating now. Hopefully it will be enough to clear Irvin's name. Oh, you remind me of him sometimes, wanting to make things right. And when you said it out loud, you know, I actually believe we can do it. I just hope our lawyer is as confident. Yes, but listen, nobody will stand up against the mining corporations around here. They're scared. She didn't want to lose the case, but she didn't have a lot to go on. Thanks to us, now she does. I sent that to our lawyer already. I asked her to confidentially review what we found. Ellie Yankton. She worked on Irvin's previous case. Ellie is one of the few lawyers on this planet who's willing to take on the mining corporations in court. Right. She said she would meet us at our office when we arrive. Hopefully she can tell us what we need to do in order to clear Irvin's name. Let's stick together, though. Gagarin isn't a huge town, but it's not the kind of town that I want to get lost in.
That's an 8 up at the Vanguard office.
We're not supposed to leave the canyon. Too dangerous.
This is Ellie's law office. Perfect. She said she would be expecting us.
Well, well, well. Barrett, you're actually here. Astounding.
Ellie! Ellie, come on. I promised we'd stop by, didn't I?
People make promises all the time, Barrett. And most folks try to avoid Gagarin, not visit it. Anyway, I'm glad you made it out here. We have work to do, don't we? Not exactly, but similar cases. A corporation commits a crime and needs a scapegoat, so they select someone powerless to target.
The quintessential Gagarin tale.
Indeed. Yes. It was my first case as a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer.
Well, starting your career with a defeat is rough, Ellie.
It was. But in a way, it made me more determined. It's not a resort. It's a working town run by mining corporations. You don't come here unless you need to, and you don't stay unless you have to.
Or unless you're a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer who genuinely wants to make things better for others. Right, Ellie?
You're kind, Barrett. Yes, I suppose there's that type of person as well. Down to business. Perfect. What do you already know?
So we already know that Irvin worked for Hephaestus Mining Company years ago, and they blamed him for catastrophic economic and ecological issues here on Gagarin.
Yes. He lost his case because he didn't defend himself, and we had almost no evidence without him. He was publicly blamed for the economic woes, and his accounts were seized in compensation.
His account on Gagarin specifically. It was just the amount he was paid years ago for the job.
Right. They would have taken his assets and other settlements, but by law, his death prevented it.
I recall receiving a message asking him to appear in court a day after his funeral.
An unfortunate reality of interplanetary legal communiques, I'm afraid. Well, we can bring the case to a judge here if we have new evidence or a witness.
What about the evidence we found so far?
Yes, well, about that. It's just not enough. Best case scenario, we clear his name and his assets are returned, plus additional compensation. Not on its own, no. It's circumstantial. Helpful to support our claim, but not enough. In order for me to go before a judge, I'd like to have some solid evidence pertaining to motive. The courts won't entertain a challenge to its ruling unless we're sure that something major was missed in the original trial.
What was the motive from the original trial?
We had no solid motive after our witness withdrew his testimony. Yeah, we need something major. Documentation, recordings, a witness, something.
It's been so long. How could we find anything like that?
I've thought about this a lot since the original case. The mine that Irvin worked at was shuttered in 2309. They probably still have documents relating to whatever happened there with him. Not necessarily. To Hephaestus, it might be cheaper to run away and let the dust bury it all.
Not really. All I know is that it's a Hephaestus mine from 20 years ago, somewhere on Gagarin.
I don't have a couple decades to wait for you to search them all, so we'll need to narrow it down. That's where you come in. I don't know which mine he worked at when the incident took place. In theory, you could find that information on a Foundry terminal, if you can access it. You'll need a passcode. That's the hard part. Besides the Foundry records, there also might be something in Irvin's apartment. If he knew he was being framed, he might have held on to some documents there.
Dear Diary, today we created an ecological disaster and then blamed it on an off-worlder. Love Hephaestus.
Funny. But you'd be surprised how often people write down things that get them into serious trouble.
Oh, do tell.
For comparison, I just finished a case against another company that was charged with illegally dumping waste near the town's water supply. Their permits specified a site that would have cost twice as much fuel, so they sent a memo to the driver to dump it at the first available location just outside of town.
They actually wrote that down. Classic. Do you think your Argos extractor's credentials could work? That would be handy.
Barrett, you brought someone with relevant work experience? I admire that.
I'm nothing if not resourceful, Ellie.
If that doesn't work, then maybe talk shop with another worker. See if they can help.
We just need to find the mine where Irvin worked 20-some years ago. How hard could that be?
Let me level with you both. It might not be possible to find enough evidence. But we may as well try, right? At least we'll know one way or another. If you'll excuse me, I have to get some court documents ready for this case.
I should still have the key to Irvin's apartment. I hope it's worth our time, but I can't be sure. The Foundry District isn't too far from here.
I have to break up one more fight at Lizzie's. She and I are going to have problems.
I've got applications in at Argmide, and I think I'm a shoo-in.
Buzz off, all right?
I was thinking about going for a hike outside the canyon.
You probably never intended. Irvin's old apartment. Here, use this key. After you, Captain. Now I get why he wanted me to look after his plants. No windows, insufficient power for proper lamps. Oh, he must have been miserable. No wonder he wrote so much. Wait a second. What about this safe? I bet it's locked by a terminal. Well, I'll be. If you ever doubted Irvin's genius, look at all this. Still chugging along 20 years later. Hold on. Is that what I think it is? Irvin didn't live here for long, but he certainly had a lot of junk here. I had no idea. Aha! Will you look at that? When we go to town hall, I bet we can get a copy of that hunting license. Is that Irvin's employment contract? Let me see. No idea what mine H363 is, but we could search for it at the Foundry database. All right, we've got some solid leads, it looks like. The employment contract and the hunting license at Town Hall. The more the merrier. Unless you're Hephaestus. It was a bit strange going through Irvin's old things, though. I was hoping for some old pictures, but nothing. What's that you have there? A plant? No, but I did find a few slates that might give us a clue. As well as a reminder to finish a physics paper that I never did. Yeah, but not for the trial. Let no one say that Irvin Madani didn't have a sentimental side. The proof is in this plant, with an assist from this self-sustaining habitat dish. Witchcraft, probably. But if you want a more scientific explanation, I have a couple of theories. It could go through states of hibernation, or draw moisture from the air the way epiphytic plants do. There's also that habitat dish Irvin set up for it, which gave it light and nutrients. Still, I'm not ruling out witchcraft. I'm not sure. It might not even be a plant. It might technically be a fungus. But there's probably a reason why Irvin tried his best to keep it alive. When we get back home, I'll go through some of his research notes. It might tell us something more about this plant. Hopefully it's not poisonous. No, maybe not. But it helps me. Irvin was the last person to handle this plant. It mattered to him. No matter how the case goes, this warms my heart. I didn't expect to find it, but I love that I did. In any event, I'll go through Irvin's notes in more detail later. There's probably a flowchart somewhere with this little guy's name on it. Oh, on that note, we should give it a name. I'm thinking something simple yet refined. What do you think of Harvey? Then it's unanimous. Okay, the three of us should get back to it. You, me, and Harvey have a case to solve.
The garden's not an easy place to live. Nice to finally be getting.
Hopefully that public access computer is still working. So, the hunting license was sponsored by Hephaestus after all. Ellie will be very interested to see this.
Do you have a ship?
Hey, do you guys have a tip line or something?
You're back. Well, what did you uncover?
Thanks, Captain. We searched Irvin's apartment and found an application for a hunting license. Compelling, right?
It's not much. Practically zero. Is that all you found?
Well, we also have a copy of the actual license sponsored by Hephaestus, too. How about that?
That's solid evidence, but likely not enough to bring it to a judge.
Opening an old case is a higher burden of proof, I'm sure.
I didn't mean to leave you with that impression, no. That is incorrect. It helps the case. It shows bad faith on the part of Hephaestus since they claimed he was not hired to hunt for them. But that's just circumstantial. It may help when we argue for a settlement value, though. If we win. Okay, now that is a solid lead. Well, don't let me stop you while you're on a roll, detectives. We can talk more later.
You don't need to be a botanist to know Harvey's probably thirsty. 20 years is a long time to go without a drink.
Can this possibly wait?
Heaven can't believe my break is almost over already. You lost her waiting for somebody? Rough day, right?
Coordinates look valid to me. Imagine Irvin thinking the same thing all those years ago. Just a job, right? Well, at least we know where to keep looking, right? This is what we do. We're explorers, adventurers. But yeah, other than that, it's my fight. I don't want to get anyone else involved. Essentially, any documentation that screams, Irvin isn't guilty, we made it up. I guess we'll see what state the mine is in. It's possible they collapsed it before they left. We just won't know until we get there. If that's the case, we'll just have to figure something out.
You looking for the nice part of town? I think you missed it.
Careful. This place was shuttered 20 years ago. It might have new tenants now. Time to shine. Choice. Gone. Figures. Well, they don't need it now. We're done. left a lot of stuff intact when they shuttered this place. They were in a hurry. Looks like administration. Company records? Bingo! All right. Now let's go find Irvin and Helgi's lab stations. Was the destruction of the bacterial colonies, not the apex predators. So, they ruined the ecosystem here, and it had nothing to do with Irvin. This is it. This is what Ellie needs to see. Lights are on down here at least. That's good. Did you say something? sulfur. Seems like Helgi tried to do the right thing here. I'm sure Ellie would want to see this. He's citing numerous ethics violations dating back to before Irvin's time, and Hephaestus just ignored him. Ellie! Hello?
Welcome back, detectives.
Ellie, I sent you all the data from the mine already. As I'm sure you know.
Yes, I've been reviewing it. Sit down. Let's have a chat about it. Welcome back, you two. How was the trip to the mine?
You're gonna love this, Ellie.
Okay, someone better tell me. Come on.
We found the coordinates to Irvin's old work site and went there. Huge battle. Fire, explosions. Pew, 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 pew.
Barrett, please.
You should have seen the plants in there, too. Weird stuff. Anyway, you read over the documents we found there, right? What do you think?
What you both found in that mine is remarkable. These documents show that the chemicals released by the mining process contaminated the ecology even before Irvin was tasked with removing the predators. And they also show that Helgi informed Hephaestus of the issue, and it was repeatedly ignored. And with that, I think we've got ourselves a case, my friends.
Yes! That's what I wanted to hear, Ellie. Woo!
Yes, but it's still likely to lose. Because what we really need now is Helgi as our witness, and that is a problem. Helgi isn't an ideal witness at all. He was our star witness the first time, and he never showed up. Plus, he's got a reputation around town. After he quit, he went a bit weird.
I can handle a bit weird. I know the captain can too.
Clearly. But the judge might feel differently. It might be worth finding some character witnesses too while you're looking for him. I'm glad you're taking it in stride. It's just, for a case with this much science, we need the man who wrote the claims to back them up. Maybe even explain it in layman's terms. We could, but I think we'd lose the case, bluntly. We can verify these documents are real, but Hephaestus can counter by attacking Helgi's character. They'll label him a disgruntled employee and then find a dozen independent scientists to confirm Irvin was at fault. But with Helgi in court, he can explain the science and help me challenge any countering theories during cross-examination. We could, but I think we'd lose the case, bluntly. We can verify these documents. They'll label him a disgruntled, but with Helgi, that's also a bit tricky. He's hard to find. Doesn't really stay in one place for long. You might ask Dr. Kayala. She checks up on folks who fall through the cracks sometimes. You'd have to convince her to tell you where he is. That might be hard.
Sounds like we're making a stop at the med clinic. We'll be back when we convince Helgi to be a witness.
Listen, if he refuses, then he refuses. Can't force him.
Yeah, we don't want to press him too hard. The last thing we need is him refuting what he wrote. This is going to take a light touch, but I think we can handle it.
Do you need medical assistance? Are you injured? Is there something I can help you two with?
Do you happen to know Dr. Helgi Hodgson? We're trying to get his help with something.
Sorry, who are you exactly?
We're detectives. Self-taught and unaffiliated. Freelance detectives. With the emphasis on the free part.
Wait, what? Detectives? Sorry, I don't think I know what you're talking about. I treat anyone who walks in my doors, if I'm able to. No, not really. I mean, there's Irvin the Slaughterer and Irvin the Scourge of Gagarin, but I doubt that's the same person, right? I'm sorry, I'm not a tour guide. You'll have to ask somebody else.
We're trying to help him. And Gagarin, actually.
Only every single time I see him. But listen, I don't have time to chat. Ellie's a good person. That bodes well, but I can't violate my oaths. I'm sorry. Listen, I can say that Helgi took up a job working at Clint's store just down the way. I saw him there stacking boxes the last time I picked up an order. I've got to get back to my work here, so if there's nothing else... If it's patient medical records you're after, I'll remind you, I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
We're thinking of taking Hephaestus to court with Dr. Hodgson as a witness. Now, given his situation, we're worried the defense might cast aspersions on his character, even question his mental health.
That's unfortunate, but not surprising. Look, if he agrees to testify and grants me permission, I could vouch for his well-being.
Thanks, Doc. If he does end up testifying, we'll definitely need you for the trial. Ellie Yankton will be in touch.
No promises, given patient confidentiality, but I'll do my best. I need to get back to my work now, if you don't mind.
I don't miss all the extra heat from the old forges, that's for sure.
Trade in a little bit of everything here. Except mix. Too old to be dealing with that black market stuff. If you're looking for something special, just ask.
Funny you ask, because I'd like to know too. He owes me a sizable debt.
I don't know. Is this a bad idea?
I've seen him around, but never in one place, except when he needs money. I offered him a job, but he showed up to work drunk one day and I had to let him go. I don't have any ill will toward him. Sure, the credits I'd like to have back, but only because it'll mean he's gotten his life together. Enough that he's no longer allowed in my store. I don't like denying service to anyone, but it's the principle of the matter. Yeah, I don't want to be mixed up with anything like that.
You're starting to make a lot of sense. I hear you.
All right, fine. I don't know where he is, but ask Lizzie up at the bar. She knows everybody. You sure you got the right person? Helgi and I have had several run-ins in the past. For me, yes. But there's a lot of water.
We just need someone to serve as his character witness, given your long-standing reputation in the city.
Sure, I can say a few words. I like Helgi, but fair warning, I'm not gonna lie for him. If I'm testifying under oath, it'll be full of the good and the bad.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
The garden's not an easy place.
Half the city was shut down the other day for a...
Looking for a drink?
investment.
Don't serve anything
I had to
fancy,
hike the
so
damn
if you're about to
canyon
ask
just
for
to get to
wine
work.
spritz or whatever, you can hop right back on your ship to New Atlantis. Not as a rule, no. Just the ones that come to Gagarin and want to change it. And those folks usually ask for disgusting, overly complicated drinks. You one of them? Well, then make yourself comfortable. And don't start anything, all right? Ah, yes. The detectives. I heard about you.
A reputation already? I'm impressed.
Slow news day, I guess. There are very few secrets here in Gagarin, my friend.
Just makes the ones that exist much more expensive.
It is what it is. I serve drinks here, friend.
We were told that you are a local crime...
We serve drinks here. Here's a list of our specials for today.
There's nothing on here.
Oh, that's strange. Here, let me fix that. Don't worry, it's just the one sale today.
Oh, right. Of course, it's a number. Here you go, Captain. All yours.
Thanks for your patronage. Sending your receipt directly to you now. We'll be sure to leave a glowing review for your establishment. Don't worry. Wait, so let me get this straight. You want the bartender to testify he's not a lousy drunk? Yeah? I'm full of good points. Just be sure you pay for them. Happy to take your credits anytime.
I heard there's a bunch of old abandoned mines under town.
I don't suppose you're here to tell me I've won a ticket to a new planet, huh?
Sorry, Doctor. Not today. We came to Gagarin to investigate Irvin Mandani's contract with the mining company a long time ago. Ring any bells?
Irvin, yeah. Biologist. Hunter. Yeah, I remember him. Why? Who are you people? Then find the history slate. An ancient history slate. Because that's what it is.
Please. Irvin was once one of your colleagues. He was the one Hephaestus blamed for an ecological disaster about 20 years ago. Do you remember any of that?
No, I don't remember lies. It's been 20 years. 20! Get out of here.
Look, I know this is strange. We show up out of the blue about things that happened decades ago. But right now, nobody save us knows the truth. And that means we're the only ones who can clear Irvin's name.
That may be what it's about, but it's not what it's gonna be.
I get it. There's a lot to be cynical about, but that's exactly what they want. They only win when we stop trying. But if you testify in court, you can hold them accountable. You can affect change.
Testify? The trial is over, the verdict rendered. In case you two clowns didn't get the memo. Because I tried before, and they threatened me. 20 years ago. I still wake up in fear almost every night. They said if I ever left Gagarin, I left my wife to protect her. She didn't deserve any of this. Any of my mess. Believe it or not, I don't need or want your money. I made enough of it by working for massive mining corporations. I don't need to risk anything else. I remember not to talk with people who come asking questions about powerful corporations. Ellie Yankton. But why? It doesn't matter. Nothing's changed. I cannot do that. Why is this so hard to understand here? That makes a lot of sense, now that I think about it. Yeah, been a thorn in my side, back and foot for 20 years. Maybe it's time I just pull it out. Fine, you've convinced me. I'd be willing to testify on one condition. I want to know what happened to Irvin. Because when he disappeared, let's just say I had an epiphany. Hephaestus didn't need to say a word. That's when I knew the threats against me and my family were real.
Dr. Hawkson, it wasn't Hephaestus that took Irvin's life. It was the war. Irvin was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Caught in the crossfire.
Then I am sorry for your loss. It won't change the past for either of us. But I will testify. And maybe, wherever Irvin is, you'll be glad that we can finally stick it to those assholes at Hephaestus.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, don't get all mushy on me now. I need a drink.
Helgi agreeing to testify is a great help. We might need witnesses to vouch for his character, though. Someone in security, maybe?
Okay, you two, lay it on me. Did you find Helgi? Did he agree to testify?
Well, we've got good news and... well, that's it. Just more good news.
Okay. Does that mean he said yes? What do we look like? New Atlantis? No. Then we better hope that our other evidence holds up. Well, that is perfect. She's probably the best person to call on should Hephaestus decide to play dirty. Well, you two have done all that you could. Now it's time to hand the baton off to me.
What do you think, Ellie? Do we have a chance?
The evidence you've gathered is impressive. It truly is.
So what's the verdict? In this case, I'd say spoilers are appreciated.
I almost never say this, because I don't want to jinx it, but I think this case is a slam dunk.
Huzzah! That's what I like to hear.
I think we can do everything on our checklist. Clear Irvin of any wrongdoing, charge Hephaestus with the cover-up, and even restore Helgi, Dr. Hawson's standing in the scientific community. All in all, though, really outstanding work. We wouldn't have gotten this far without your efforts. And I've got to imagine that wherever Irvin is, he appreciates it too.
Agreed, Ellie. And thanks for being our anchor in this. We should probably get out of Ellie's way and let her do her thing. We can talk more in private. Wow, we actually did it! Solved the case. And hopefully cleared Irvin's name. I feel like, what's the old saying? A great weight has been lifted off my shoulders? But it's actually true. I feel like I'm 80% biomass and 20% aerogel. It's a substance that is literally lighter than air, depending on the planet. Habitable planets tend to range from 1 to 2 milligrams per cubic centimeter. Most aerogels are about 1/10 of that. I feel like I'm currently hovering in that territory. Give or take 1/10. You're right, but I'm confident Ellie's correct about the outcome. If nothing else, the court of public opinion is going to side with Irvin. If we lose, we can always leak the docs to SSNN. I hope so. It's always a tug-of-war between the workers and the mining corps. But there's one thing we've got in our favor. There's more of us than there are of them. All it takes is for the people to realize it. Ellie would know better than I, but I doubt it'll be anytime soon. These things tend to involve a lot of red tape. It's a special kind of adhesive that makes you stick to old filing cabinets and manila envelopes. I'm feeling great. Although I could do with some wine and cheese. Why stop at emotional satisfaction when we can indulge in the culinary too? But if I can be serious for a moment, thank you. I couldn't have done this without your help. That makes 2 of us. 3 if you count Harvey. And who wouldn't? He's practically family. In fact, Harvey's got a little explorer in him too. According to this slate I found, turns out that our spiky friend's been all across the galaxy. I doubt it. Harvey's a wanderer. Getting lost is how he finds his way home. We've been through a lot, haven't we? I had forgotten what it was like to work with someone so closely. On top of everything else we've done together and with Constellation, yeah, I think so. Investigating Irvin's case with you is something I'll remember forever. I've come to realize that some events, some people, stand out as pillars of my life. It's whatever leaves an impression on you, right? Moments that define our lives, where our future diverged from our expectations. People who changed you, or people you've changed. Yes, some of them do. And if we're lucky, they change us for the better. We only get a brief moment in this universe to interact, to feel, to be who we are and experience the range of emotions that our bodies and minds have evolved to comprehend. Maybe I did. But this is all from my heart, my friend. You're right. The variables involved are beyond human understanding. Being born in the right time, the right place, so much is beyond our control. If one is fortunate, you might even notice events and people changing you while it is in motion. I know I certainly am. I've explored many worlds, and I've worked with Constellation for most of my life. I cherish those memories. But you have changed me as a person forever. I don't want to look back years from now and wonder what if. I need to know what you think about us. No, not always. There are many ways to make someone feel loved. And you have done well in that regard. But I need this moment in my mind. I need to be able to look back and remember what we had in our hearts right here, right now. Here we are, the most fortunate people in the galaxy, because we get to explore it all together as friends.
We should catch up sometime. Later. Hello, Detective. Hello. Not as many as I should, given the contracts these miners are signing. Most of the time, I'm just here to remind folks they've got rights. A piece of paper can make you do a lot of things, but it can't break the law. I've always been passionate about environmental law, so coming here was a natural fit. But I'm not gonna lie. There were times I almost let go of the rope. Losing Urban's case really shook me. Imagine having all these wild ideas about how you were going to end corporate malfeasance, and I couldn't even win one case. But you can only cry about it for so long. I told myself to suck it up and win the next one, and the one after that. It didn't matter how many tries it took, I'd just keep chiseling away at the whole justice system until I made a crack. That's right. And the one thing I've learned is there's no one case that'll solve everything. It's a process. Well, detectives, you did the heavy lifting. Now it's my turn to close. But it's not as simple as waving the proof in somebody's face, especially with a case this old. There's appeals that have to be filed, legal proceedings, bureaucracy, the whole nine. My recommendation is you and Barrett take some time off. Travel the galaxy, see the sights. I'll send him a message when I have some actual news. Don't worry about it. For this case, I expect the paperwork to climb up the stairs and the verdict to fly out the window. So even if I did have a courier send you a court date, you'd never get here in time. But whatever the outcome, I'll make sure you and Barrett are the first to know. Good chatting with you again.
So the other day, I went on a rescue mission. An asteroid was slated to hit a moon in one of the outer systems, and I wanted to get some genetic samples before they went extinct. Well, I managed to get one. This suspiciously cactus-looking thing here. I didn't know what it was, only that it was beautiful. It's not until I scanned it back home that I realized it wasn't native to the system. The flora was alien. Somehow, a seed had stowed away on someone's ship and managed to plant itself on this unremarkable moon like a rogue dandelion clock dancing through space. And I thought, well, isn't that a kindred spirit? This whimsical little cactus is an explorer just like us. To me, what we do at Constellation is always bittersweet. When we explore new worlds, we leave our homes behind. In a way, that's what this plant represents. It's a hello and a goodbye. So, I'm giving this plant to you, Barrett, in hopes that you never lose your sense of adventure and the places you call home. Let it be a celebration of every long goodbye and each new beginning.
So Ellie contacted me about the case. Same. I was beginning to get worried since we hadn't heard from her. But that's interstellar communication for you. Anyway, we have a verdict. Irvin's record will be expunged on account of his death occurring before the trial ended. It's a technical victory, but we'll take it. We can't change the system that made this happen. But I'm glad we tried. Well, she's going to keep up the fight. Gagarin is full of cases, just like Irvin's, if you can believe it. Relieved. This was always in the back of my mind. Always there when I fell asleep and when I woke up. And I would mask it as much as I could. Hide the sorrow with my wit, hide the anxiety with my charm. The grief will always be there. But it's something I feel I can move past now. Already did, of course. And a third of the settlement. Just made sense considering how much she did for us. And speaking of the settlement, I divided it into equal portions for me, you, Ellie, and expenses. Here's your share. And I sold the apartment. So here's the bonus from that after taxes. I gave my portion to Ellie so she could fund other cases. Well, there it is. I guess it's over. Until somebody changes the laws there, this will be just a bump in the road for them. Ellie is going to keep digging into them, and now that she's seen this tactic, she may be able to find a pattern. Ellie tried to convince the judge to dismiss Helge's conviction from years ago as well, but the judge didn't think that was warranted. Helge was having a rough time. We tried, but he didn't make it easy. Also, so I gave Helge a bit of money. Enough to leave Gagarin if he wanted, just in case. We knew we couldn't fix the whole system. I'm just glad we could do what we did. I wish we could have helped more people ruined by Hephaestus. But that isn't our fight. There it is. I guess I needed to actually hear someone say it. Case closed. Whew. Finally. It's not lost on me that you've encouraged me to pursue this investigation from the beginning, you know. I appreciate your support more than you can imagine. Thanks, Captain. I'm glad you haven't changed your mind on working with others after all this. A long time ago, you talked about valuing teamwork. You really meant it. Don't tell the others. But I was having a hard time focusing because of all this trial stuff. So thank you for helping with that. As close as we've gotten? I believe that. Usually Vasco's the only one I trust. Granted, he's programmed not to blab. With you, no special protocols required. Anyway, I'm just glad we got everything settled with Irvin's case. It was just one loose end in a universe full of them. I'm glad it's tied.
Did you hear? The trial was a success. And not only that, some of the zoologists at Mast have even asked me to write the paper on my findings. I want to thank you and Barrett again for convincing me to testify.